Welcome to the best gambling show on the internet. This is the home of the money pick. Make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you subscribe. Week 12 player props. Week 11, we were on a heater. Let's keep getting this money. First prop, we got Aaron Jones over 61.5 rushing yards. Some books it's lower. But, man, the Vikings run the ball great every week, and I know they've been trying to limit his usage, but I think they go all out this week, and I've been saying all year until I'm blue in the face, the way to attack this Bears defense is you run the ball right down their throat. Their linebackers are pretty good, but their defensive tackles, defensive ends aren't great against the run. Like, look at what Chuba Hubbard did to them earlier in the year. There's a ton of examples. I think Aaron Jones goes off, and also as the Vikings move into the second half of the year, into playoff time, into money time, they need to get the ball out of Sam Darnold's hands, and that means giving the rock to Aaron Jones. This is Aaron Jones' best season by far. I'm going over the 61.5 rush yards for him. Next prop, we got Brian Robinson. This one moved up a lot. Over under 70.5 rushing yards. I'm going over. And listen, this is a lot because you got Eckler, you got Rodriguez taking carries, and I know all that. But he's the best running back on this squad. He's the best power option. And I think that's what you want to do against Dallas. This is a Dallas team that isn't good in the defensive tackle area or linebacker area to start with. Secondly, this is a Dallas team that just doesn't have much fight, much soul left. And Brian Robinson coming at you 15, 17 times, eventually they're going to wither. We've seen this Cowboys defense decay, get tired, maybe even quit in the second half of these games. I think the Commanders get a lead. And what do they do when they get a lead? They're going to run the ball. And that's what the Commanders offense needs to get back to. They need to get back to the power run. And that's what I think is available against the Cowboys. Take what they give you. And that means Brian Robinson smashing through Cowboys defenders. Like I said, the only thing you worry about here is the distribution of carries. But I still think we should be getting between 15 and 17 for Brian Robinson. He's going to break one over 20 yards. I'm going to go over the 70.5 rushing yards for him. Next prop, we got DeAndre Swift over under 53.5. This is another one that went down. And I wanted to bet it at 61.5. Then I go to bet it, it's at 57.5. Right now, it's at 53.5. I'm still going under. The Vikings are great against the run this year. They had one bad game against the run, and that was the Rams on a Thursday night, quick week, 3 days to prepare. You give Brian Flores a full week. You got Caleb Williams under center. You stop DeAndre Swift. And that's what the Vikings are going to do. They're going to make Caleb Williams beat them, and we'll see if he's able to do that. I do think the Vikings struggle in this game. I do think this is an ugly smash mouth football game. But even with that being said, this is a Bears offensive line that's struggling to create movement. They're struggling in the pass block game. And I feel like DeAndre Swift, honestly, at this point in his career, is better suited when he's out in space. But the Bears run game is all up the middle. They do a lot of power runs, and that's just not what's going to work against the Vikings. I think Swift has a really bad day. Like, I think he gets like 12 carries, 38 yards, some sort of line along those lines. I'm going under the 53.5 for his rush yards. Next prop, we got Matt Stafford over under 242.5 pass yards. I'm going under. And I know he has Nakua, I know he has Tyron Williams, and I know he has Cooper Kupp. And when he has those weapons, this Rams offense is one of the better offenses in the league. But one thing, if you've been following the show, if you've been following the spread picks, I've been bullish on this Eagles defense since week 2. I felt like there was a lot of young guys improving. Look at DeGene, one of the best slot corners in the league. Look at some of their other young bulls in the secondary. I think they're playing great on defense right now, and I think the Rams need to try to run the ball against the Eagles. I think that's what they need to do, and we've seen this Rams offensive line get healthy. They're still giving up pressures. They look clumsy, a lot of pre-snap penalties, and this Rams offense just isn't the same. I feel like McVay lost an edge. So with this underrated Eagles pass defense, I really like the under 242.5. I think it might even move up to like 250 by the time we're able to bet this. So I'm going under the 242.5 pass yards for Matt Stafford. Not an easy decision, but one I think we have to make. Next prop, we got Bucky Irving over 50.5 rushing yards. I know a lot of people lost money getting Bucky Irving props this year. We haven't had him on the show, but I've been tempted. But listen, this is a Giants run defense that stinks, and why it stinks, I'm not sure. You got Dexter Lawrence. You have other pretty good pieces on the defensive line. Dexter Lawrence is one of the best run-playing defensive tackles in the league, but it just comes down to the Giants. They're a poor coach mess, and Daniel Jones was blamed as the problem there. But obviously, there's bigger problems in the Giants land, and I think Bucky Irving has his coming out party. He can break 120 to 30 yards. Really about Bucky Irving, it just comes down to the type of volume he gets, and I got to say, man, I told everyone it was a money pick, the -5.5 on the Tuesday video for the Bucs, and I told everyone to be a little bit cautious. But as the week goes on, I feel more comfortable in this. Mike Evans is back. I think it's going to be a rout, and when it turns into a rout, you run the fucking ball, and this Bucs offensive line has been great. Their play design has been great. I think this is a Bucky Irving coming out party. Like I said, we just worry about the distribution. Like, can we just get the kid like 13 carries? Then we're going to go over 70. But I like the Bucky Irving over 50.5 rushing yards. Next prop in the same game, Tyron Tracy over 9.5 receiving yards. Listen, DeVito's going to be checking it down. Tampa has the highest blitz rate in the league. I know DeVito's not a rookie, but you get a young quarterback in there, first game of the year. What's Bowles going to do? Bowles is going to blitz him. And what's the quarterback going to do? What's a Giants quarterback going to do? They're going to check it down, and Tracy is available. Tracy's a damn gladiator. He's going to want to catch the ball. He's going to want the ball in his hands. Obviously, I think people are going to target his props for the rushing yards. I'm not going there because I think it's going to be a bad performance on the Giants offense. Like, the game script probably won't work in their favor. But give me Tyron Tracy over 9.5 receiving yards. Listen, and Daboll's got to get him loose. They got to get him on screens. Either way, I think we get the check downs, and he's great at breaking tackles. Next prop, we got Josh Palmer over 34.5 receiving yards. You got to get against the Ravens pass defense, right? And the next prop after this is Herbert over 254.5 pass yards. So let's just do these together. Ladd McConkey might not play. And listen, he's the Chargers' best option by far, but there's limits to that, obviously. And I feel like Josh Palmer needs to be involved in this pass game. Like, I know everyone's like looking at Quentin Jackson and maybe Rieger to get involved. I'm looking at Josh Palmer to be involved. Like, he's been hurt the whole year. It seems like he's getting back to health. I feel like he's their best option outside of McConkey. I feel like when you look at the Ravens, their run fits are really good. The Chargers are trending to more of a pass offense. I don't know if there's a quarterback playing better ball in this league than Justin Herbert. I know he doesn't have the gaudy numbers because the first 6 weeks, I know he doesn't have the dogs at wide receiver, but give me Herbert over 254.5. Palmer over 34.5 receiving yards. And look at the total in this game. This is a high total for a reason. This has the scenario to turn into a shootout very easy. So Herbert, Palmer, overs. Next, prop Mike Evans over 50.5 receiving yards. This is low for Mike Evans, man. This is low for Mike Evans. And I know he's coming back off an injury. I know this might be a Buccaneers blowout. But listen, the Giants are going to have to bring that safety down and stop the run. No player has been better against single high coverage in this league this year than Mike Evans. And you know Baker is just itching to get him the ball. We might get this all-in-one catch down the sideline. And look at these Giants corners. They're an absolute mess. They're an absolute shambles. I don't know what's going on there. And you look at like someone like Deontay Banks. How many times has he been benched this year? 2 or 3? We should bet the props on how many times Deontay Banks gets benched this game. Give me Mike Evans over 50.5 receiving yards. Chuba, last one. Chuba Hubbard over 49.5. Like, I know Chuba Hubbard over 49.5 rush yards. Like, listen, I know Jonathan Banks is coming back, and I know, like, Canales is going to want to sprinkle him, but I still think the Carolina Panthers still want to win this game. Like, I don't believe in the tanking stuff you guys do, and I think this Chiefs run defense is obviously really good because you got Chris fucking Jones, but I feel like Chuba Hubbard's been very good this year. I feel like run blocking wise, this Panthers offensive line has been a top 10, top 12 unit in the league. Sometimes they get away from the run, but I think they go run heavy here to get Bryce comfortable in the game. Give me Chuba Hubbard over 49.5 rush yards. Let's get this money. Week 12 player props, Saturday morning, wake up, get this money. Have a great weekend, guys. Enjoy the games.